Hello, me again. Yes, it's John Bloodworth, Gentleman Crafter, and I'm back with another card layout, number 41 in this series. This one's got a lot going on, so I have made some big old edits in this, but starting out with the Grand Plans paper pad from first edition, I selected a couple of papers. Now, there are lots to work with here, and for those of you that struggle for men's cards, this is a great one to have in your collection. So this is the layout that I'm going to be using, and as you can see there's going to be a lot of different layers going on. I have got a couple of ink pads that I may use. I've got the die that I plan to use. I've got a large cover a card stamp with the graduated dots, and I chose this particular paper from the pad as I thought it was quite gender neutral and would work for both sexes. I've then teamed it up with some coloured cardstock which are inspired by the colours in the paper, and of course I've then got the base card which is going to be black. So I'm trimming that down to 8 inches by 6 inches, and then I will score it to make a 6x4 card. So far that's been the standard size that I've used throughout this series of card making videos. A lot of you have requested square cards. So if there are any other styles or shapes or sizes of cards that you would like me to cover in this series in coming videos, please do comment either on YouTube or on my blog. Out with the bookbinding glue to stick this to the front of the card. And while I'm over pressing that, let me tell you that you can obviously download the layout from my blog, gentlemancrafter.com. A link will be in the description below the video. Now I'm just basically cropping down strips that I'm going to cut the sentiment out from, which is why you saw me positioning the die against the trimmer's edge, so I could get an idea of how wide those strips need to be. I then ran it through the die cutting machine for each colour, and I will carry on doing that. Lots of editing going on there. And then I cut one final layer in white. And the goal here was to layer them all together and create quite a striking sentiment to sit on the front of the card. So I arranged the colours in terms of tone, so going from darkest to lightest. Applied glue to the back of the sentiment. It's probably the best place to put it. Putting it on the front wouldn't have helped. And then layered these up with a slight offset. So it's almost like that sort of 70s text that you would see, maybe even like the Wonder Woman titles from the old TV series. Remember that? Okay, there's my sentiment. I'm going to leave that to one side while I carry on. And the next job was to apply this texture, that is the word I think I want to use, to all of the colours of the card. Now you might think, why on earth are you applying this? Well, I just didn't want plain coloured strips. I wanted something that would tie in with the design of the paper, but also not be too overpowering. I'm not sure if I succeeded in that, but, you know, here we go. Now I'm just creating the top sentiment pennant, and basically around the bottom edge I've just marked 1 inch mark on both sides, and then halfway across the middle of the bottom edge. Trim that down with the scissors, and there's my pennant. Now the white ink wouldn't have shown up on white card, so I used the green ink that tied in with the rest of the colour scheme. Quickly going to dry that pigment ink off with a blast of the heat tool. And then I'm going to start cropping these down into the strips to make those fishtail ribbon style decorations that you saw on the front of the card at the start of this video. I bet you're grateful I sped this up to 5 times. It's quite a lot of chopping going on here. If you haven't seen this series before, by the way, if this is the first card layout video that you're watching of mine, this is number 41 in a series. I've not set an end goal, but generally I release 3 new videos a week. So you're welcome to go back and binge watch the rest while you're snacking on a pack of cookies or slurping on a coffee, whatever takes your fancy, really. They're intended to inspire rather than be, step-by-step tutorials. So it always starts with a layout, and then basically I show you how I get to the end result. Okay, so the fishtail banners, I'm now putting them in pairs, and I had worked this out so that I would have 3 colours running throughout and then 2 colours in between. I hope that makes sense. Now, rather than try and get complicated, I thought it would be easier if I assembled this whilst it was off the card, because then I had time to make some manipulations or things and it wouldn't be wonky on the card when I'd finished. So I started with the middle one and then put the outside pairs down. Absolutely no measuring going on here. I am just working by eye, but I'm generally kind of trying to balance the sides out. And there we go. So you see, that worked. And that's how it's going to look on the card. I'd like to raise it from the card though, so I am using foam pads as normal. The ones I use are the Sellotape Sticky Fixers, but of course you can use whatever ones you've got available and whatever depth you would prefer. It's your card or the card you're making for somebody, so you make it work for you. A little bit of glue on the foam pads gives me some wiggle time as I put it down and overthink it. And then there we are. Okay, now the sentiment I am going to stick directly to the pennant. And you can see how the colours of the cardstock now work with the background paper. And then to finish, just a couple of gem clusters top and bottom of the sentiment. And there we have card layout number 41. I hope you've enjoyed this one and that it has inspired and given you an idea for a future project. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. That's it for this time. If you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section below. And for more from me in the future, please remember to subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching.